All right, hey, we are back for another episode of the Music Retail Show. And hey, this is a good one, Ian. We are actually doing stuff in the media room with another person. So, which is kind of fun. So I know 2020 actually was a big year for a lot of people as far as making changes. You know, obviously COVID-19 protocols and everything, and so it's kind of nice to be able to be here. Charlton Moore of Franklin Strap and Glider Capo. How you doing, man?
There's a little splash of normalcy. It feels
I know.
great.
It does. It does. It's like you kind of see people, talk to people. It's like, do I know how to talk to people in person anymore? I don't know. So,
human
anyways.
interaction. Oh my goodness.
How you doing?
Thought?
You doing good?
I'm fantastic.
Okay.
You know, like everybody else in the industry, slammed and in a good way.
Yeah.
And just trying to change and adjust. And personally, I'm feel great. And yeah, I've been carrying on.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I know it's actually this year started off pretty good for for MIRC and everything. Of course, we started carrying the brand Nashville Guitar Works. We started that actually
So
at the
cool.
end of 2020, back around Thanksgiving with acoustics and got the electrics in. And man, I'm telling you what, is gone gangbusters. So
They look
we've got-
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look amazing.
So-
They sound amazing. I put one in my hands earlier. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm really stoked for you guys. That's
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
exciting. So the future's wide open, and it seemed to be just the perfect time to do it. So
And the price points are great.
Yeah.
There's some options there, and there's diversity in the line. So congratulations there.
yeah, man. Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, just as far as anything else, man, what's going on? I mean, like just. Yeah, you guys have had some changes,
Yeah,
and I
some.
kind of don't know where to start, but maybe you kind of know where to start.
Well, I think the timeline is like the last time I was here. It's just sort of funny how the world works and life and how you adjust. And a famous finance guy here locally, Mr. Dave Ramsey, says the definition of entrepreneur is one that adapts to change.
Yeah.
And I believe everyone listening most likely can write a book on that at this point.
Yes.
Yeah,
no.
So the last time I was here was the week before NAMM, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed,
Ready to go,
kill it, man.
Yeah.
And,
That's right. We had Al John and you and we had True Tone.
True Tone.
That's
And,
right. That was
Zach,
kind of like a round table at it was actually at a square table. But
and how are we prepping for NAMM and all this?
That's right.
And it's amazing what can happen and so quickly. And the week after that, we were boxed up, ready to go. We were almost there.
Yeah.
And my dear mentor and our late owner, Greg Bennett, had a medical emergency in Scottsdale because he likes driving all the way out there and stopping off at stores on the way. It's like it's an annual ritual that he's done for 8 years or so. And so we actually had an empty booth with a sign, and we didn't make it. I had to turn around and come back home, and it was terrible. And then, of course, a month later, everything happens with COVID.
Yeah.
And then a month after, as soon as Franklin here started opening up a little bit, we realized what that medical emergency was, which before they thought it was just a diverticulitis flare up, which is he's suffered for years, and he has 1 or 2 a year, and he had like 6 this year or last year, and so he went in as soon as the hospital sort of allowed. Or I should say when he felt comfortable because of the COVID. This is a peak lockdown.
Yeah.
And was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and we lost him 30 days later.
Yeah.
They said he had 6 months, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
Pancreatic cancer is, and it just ate him up right away.
Greg Bennett was a hugely influential person within the music industry.
Absolutely. With one of the most impressive resumes I've ever seen in my life. He, he started off at the Soundpost in downtown Chicago, doing lessons at 28 years old, working for a guy named Rudy Schlocker, which a lot of folks out there would know, and because he bought Washburn.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
he ran Washburn late 70s and the 80s. He just started. He would come out in between lessons. He would tell me and sit on the floor of the store and just sell guitars for sport.
Yeah.
Like he would, Greg, he's just
Yeah.
so talented. He's just
Uh-huh.
one of the most impressive sales guys ever.
Yeah.
And mainly because of his command of the topic. He just knows guitars.
Yes.
Just remarkably well.
He
And,
took guitar to a science.
well, he took it to an architecture.
Yeah.
Yeah, science. Yeah, absolutely. But he a true designer, not a builder that learned some things along the way, but a true designer. I mean, he had drafting tables and would draw. He would craft his designs by hand, not software.
Yeah.
So he's got portfolios of just hand drawn. I mean, everything was symmetrical.
Yeah.
His famous cutaways, those huge, deep cutaways, are actually two interloping perfect circles.
Okay.
So he would use pi
Yeah.
to find these perfect shapes, and
Mhm.
he can't look at things like P bases without like cringing because
That's
because
interesting.
it's not a real shape. It's
Yeah.
just it did well, so we just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And the space in between each the neck and the end of the cutaway on each side isn't the same space. So he can see these things. He
Yeah.
sees. I forgot the term of when you hear frequencies as colors and see colors.
Oh.
That's a term. Raman Djawadi has this. I forgot the name of it, but he's like that with shapes. He just
Yeah.
sees shapes everywhere. So his dad was an architect, helped build the Golden Gate Bridge, I think, or renovate it.
Really?
Yeah, his father.
Okay.
Yeah, and so had got the key to the city in London. So this is in his family
Yeah.
to see shapes and so forth and functionality, which is a big part of obvious guitar design. Anyways, and he went through. He was a senior designer for Washburn like 8 times. He left and came back so many times. He went off and was the northeastern rep for Tascam for some time. He ran all of
Okay.
sales for Bruno. Some folks out there would remember Bruno, which would be a huge distributor back then. Ovation Takamine, he ran for years. Was a marketing director at Gibson for a time. He was the president of guitar and accessories for Guitar Center
Okay.
for a time. Left, bought the patent to the glider Capo, started his own thing,
Yeah.
created Franklin Strap, put LR Bags on the map. It just goes on.
The list
and
goes on.
And the Prairie State Strings, which was big back then. It just so many adventures
Yeah.
he went into and was successful.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you giving me time to just sort of,
Mm-hmm.
because we haven't really,
Yeah.
we as a business we haven't talked about it, and because he meant everything to me. He's a mentor of mine for
Yeah.
my entire adult life.
Oh, yeah.
And God, I'm so lucky. Like I got to hear him talk
Mhm.
for years.
Yeah.
And so it's just free education every
Yeah.
single day.
Yeah.
And he put me on the road, and it was just a wonderful experience.
Yeah,
And
for years you spoke about how you just, as you guys were doing business together, you would maybe, there would be frustration there because you wanted to do this, but he didn't want to do this, but you
Yeah.
always came back to the fact of how much you had learned from him, and he was a mentor that was forming you
Yeah.
to who you are right now.
I think that's everybody. I
Yeah.
think I don't think he wouldn't have done his job as a mentor
Yeah.
if I turned out to be his replica.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what a mentor does. I think that's not what a leader does. I think a leader invests in people, gives them the resources and the counsel
Mhm.
to grow what makes them them, and apply the knowledge that they've developed to grow it, to fine tune that, if you will.
Mhm.
So he's got a library of philosophy books telling him, how to talk to people like me and be a leader.
Yeah.
And he did it his own way. And I will always forever be grateful until the day I die.
Yeah.
For the opportunities.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So,
but
you got hit with a hit with a wall of news at some point in time.
well,
last spring.
we're locked down. The factory's shut down. No one's weaving cotton. No one's, no tanneries are going. And then all of a sudden our owner passes abruptly. So what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
Everything happens at once. Um, all of our dealers shut down. This was back then. I'd call this around June.
Yeah.
And then that didn't come back. Our wholesale business didn't really come back until August, really. Some of our export was around because every country was sort of in a different situation. But which was always, the plan. The plan for me, I dedicated my life to this company with the intention to buy it. It was, and so obviously we didn't want it to go down this way. But myself and my colleague, coincidentally also named Greg,
That's right.
partnered and incorporated. Greg Bennett. I would have loved to buy Greg Bennett Company as it was, but it was created so long ago, before internet and before the way it was structured. It made more sense to buy the assets of Greg Bennett Company and reincorporate under Tonal Music Inc. And we called it Tonal Music Inc. Because, as you know, I also on the side own a publishing company. Where I sell audio and pitch license audio for sync placements and so forth, and that's called Tonal Autonomy. And I just wanted to keep it in the family in the case one day that all merges. So so it's Tonal Music Inc. And we just, Greg had so many relationships that I didn't. I ran a lot of his export and his domestic sales, but some of the supply relationships and some of the I had to sort of reintroduce myself to a whole segment of the business, which was interesting to say the least. And it took about 3 months to stabilize. I've had a wish list of stuff I wanted to do for years that we haven't been in the place to do it. And we immediately just started going down the checklist. What do we need to solve? What are the problems? Like, let's get a clear head here. Everything's happened. How do we mitigate some of these issues? And Greg and I just knocked it out one by one. And our glider export has tripled. Our glider sales have tripled, literally. And I'm waking up and watching the news in the morning and making capos. And that's the life that you sign up for in this kind of situation. And straps, same thing. Dealers came back with vengeance, and the demand for our strap brand is through the roof. We've been in every major metropolitan for 25 years, so there's that. But our advertising and just getting, which we can talk about later, we just being digitally in front of people as often as possible and being a brand and not a collection of stuff has shot our demand through the roof. So our consumer demand's through the roof. So then the sell through from our dealer side's through the roof. And and then as life happens, you can't make it. You can't build the stuff as much as you can because of factory capacity regulations and like I said, people aren't weaving cotton in America, and we're Franklin Strap. I can't import, so it's just a strange dichotomy to be in. I'd rather have all the demand and little supply than the other way around. I think, but you just take one issue at a time, and that's where we are.
Man, I remember seeing you last summer, just talking with you last time. You were still going through the process of purchasing the company or companies, rather.
It's brands. It's
brands.
A bunch of intellectual property, essentially, and then obviously the assets, the machinery, the inventory. But it's mostly brands, and then Gibson Corporation, and then owns all the same thing. It's mother company, and then the brands that we've got listed out.
Well, and I just remember seeing it through that, and then all of a sudden, you and Greg are now faced with every aspect of the business, and going, oh my gosh, okay, this is a big deal. You could see it on your face that you guys had taken on a new weight.
Well, I
So,
think for 3 months it was quite overwhelming.
yeah.
I took a 10-day vacation over New Year's, and I've never felt so relieved. Like it
Yeah.
was just to get away. It was. We've always been hard workers. We've always put in the hours, which you have to when you're running a small business. Um, but it wasn't just that. It was being 34 and talking to a bank
Yeah.
about all of this stuff, lines of credit and debt and opportunities and investments. And, these aren't things that I did.
Yeah.
I sell guitar gear.
Yeah.
That's
right. Yeah.
So
Whole new world.
I sell guitar gear. I don't take banker meetings. Okay. So, no, I mean, but
Yeah.
you roll with it.
Yeah.
There was, our good friend, John Ordung, runs a small business association in Tennessee, and he held our hand through it as best he could.
Okay.
Taught us how to look at reports, year-end reports. Taught us how to talk to bankers and all of that. And we had, our team is so impressive. I mean, the people behind us at Inns Bank, which is just a local Nashville bank for small business. Everything from having your banker on your side to people smarter than you in this, counseling you because they see the vision.
Yeah.
And they hear you talk, and they hear you're passionate about the product, and I clearly have a command of the product and in terms of carrying on, but all the other expertise that you need, we had the best team surrounding us for this, and got all the way through unscathed, and we've literally never been better.
Yeah.
Which is shocking.
Yeah.
But yeah, never been better with all of that. So it's just funny how you go from one frame of mind. I'm going back. I think on the last time I was on here, I was like, all right, I'm getting in the van. I'm hitting the road again. I'm hitting the road again. We're getting out there, and then the whole country locks down, and our owner passes, and it's like, oh, okay, what now? Because you prep for a 6-month trip. You prep for months on because I've done it before. I lived on the road for like 4 or 5 years and visiting dealers and so forth. So and trade shows and guitar shows and all of that. So just just an amazing situation to where I am now compared to then, in terms of, I'm actually in the same exact spot. It's just a totally different frame of mind.
Yeah.
Right. So
what did you guys do? So okay, obviously, COVID happened, everything with Greg, Greg passed away. You guys bought the business. So that's the first half of the year. How did you guys adapt and finish out 2020 strong?
Our wonderful reps out in their territories that are traveling, is to the extent that they're allowed to, and to the extent that their dealers are comfortable with. And just fanning the flame of that consumer demand, emails, keeping in touch with people. How do you sell a personable, a very human-oriented industry in a time where everyone's disconnected? That's the question. And how do you do that? Well, you stay in touch the best as possible. You try to focus people to get on your website instead of eBay. Yeah. These direct correspondences. You try to be as personal as possible. Videos, social media, sending emails. On the manufacturer side, dealing with artists, because they're everything in terms of social media, and our wonderful artists out there tagging us and doing videos every day, and podcasts and things like this. That's what we had to do, and we had to keep our volume up. This is the seesaw of a mass-producing manufacturer. If our domestic business goes down, you can't make an American-made product with a third of the volume. Yeah, you just can't. Now all of a sudden, our $50 straps are $100 straps. Yeah. And they can't do that because our dealers, their whole system of buying is based on these prices. Yeah. And so there are times where we eat it hard, and you know, and for long periods of time, and sometimes it never even comes back. Sometimes it's temporarily, and we eat it for 6 months, and then the market comes back or whatever. So, anyways, that being said, I focused a lot on export. I wanted the awareness and the demand to go beyond the U.S. And strangely enough, the demand for American-made products can be found in a lot of countries.
I bet.
A lot of countries, especially in the guitar world.
Oh.
So unprofessional.
I know that is so unprofessional.
So, anyways, we started working with Aria and Music Button in Korea, Taraku Trading in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Rossetti, we just opened up in the UK. Wonderful people in the UK over there, and we've got some other people on the deck, and so that's where even though the margin's not the same, that's where we have to make up the volume in order to be able to feed the domestic, which is our real bread and butter, our dealers in America, obviously. So in order to keep our prices there, we had to do something to get the volume up.
Yes.
And export is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
So that helped. I can't tell you how much that helped. Also, on the glider side, there's only no one will ever be able to display the glider capo like Greg Bennett. It just won't happen. But we did, for the first time in the 30-year lifespan of that little thing, we're reaching out to other artists, younger guys.
Yeah.
And they're having, Greg's a finger stylist, and that's the way he uses the glider, which is fine. And
those videos are good.
They're
of him
remarkable.
Playing. Oh yeah,
I mean, they're just remarkable.
He's
and
he's an incredible artist.
Well, you know what he used to say? He used to say, when people would say, "Well, who's actually going to move it mid-song?" and he goes, "Well, do you cut a commercial for a Ferrari in traffic?
Yeah,
or on the Autobahn?"
Yeah, like I don't get it.
And I thought, whoa, what a point! Because you might not use the end time modulation, but it by using it that way, it's showing the furthest extinct of its functionality. So anyone that would use it, all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, well, it keeps you in tune after you reposition. Oh, well, that's cool. The single spring capos can't do that. So there's that, anyways, we working with other artists with different styles, electric guitars.
That's brilliant.
Everything, your jazz guy, your neo soul guys on Instagram are giving it a go, and so we got into that, and so the gliders never. It was almost tanked a few years ago, and it's never been better.
That's like neo soul. It'd be like, hey, well, what kind of music do you play? Neo soul, and I'd be like, I still don't know what that is.
I don't get right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's the new craze taking over all social media. It stemmed in music schools everywhere because they're not listening to jazz. They're not listening to 30s, 40s jazz anymore. It's essentially Instagram guitarist hammering on major sixths and dominant sevens.
Oh man, we're going deep down the path now.
So
going down a dark road.
Just
Yeah. Well, hey, my kids actually, after watching the weekend at the Super Bowl, of course, they were like, hey, this is kind of cool. Now they listen to it. And we were listening to his newest album in the car the other day, and I was like, this is 1984. It was like the keyboards and the reverbs.
Oh, you're talking about The Weeknd.
The Weeknd, yeah. Sorry,
so
The Weeknd.
I heard that for the first time, and I was like, oh, where's Cher?
That's exactly.
I was like, oh
right.
man, is Cher playing the Super Bowl right now? What? It cut full circle, and he nailed it. And I was like, man, this is totally full circle, amazing.
Yeah, and actually, we can move on, but it's amazing what the Stranger Things did as far as bringing back up Moog and keyboard and synthesizers and stuff like that. They did that. Everybody loved that show, and then it's literally kind of, I think, contributed to a little bit of how music has kind of gone the last few years. But
have you ever been, speaking of Moog, not to get off the road too much, have you ever been to their factory in Asheville?
I haven't.
Please do it.
Okay.
You'll love it. If you're ever going through, they do tours, I think, every day. You might have to schedule it. Don't hold me to that. COVID's changed everything. But just remarkable. It's a history lesson.
Yeah.
In sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just what a walk through time. It's incredible. Yeah. Anyways, that's my next big purchase. I think is a Moog grandmother.
Okay.
Those are cool. Yeah.
Well, hey, we've had a conversation about it, but I'd love to have a conversation here about the customer and the difference from 2019 to 2020, and then going into 2021. How has the customer changed, or how has selling to customers changed?
Yeah, dramatically. Well, I will say it was ticking this direction already.
Yeah.
But big life events like this just shove it full fledged. You know,
where you're forced to deal with.
Well, what I think personally, I think what happened is that we were shoved 8 years in the future.
Yeah.
Personally, because it's been trekking in this direction.
Well, yeah, like I think the prediction was like, I think it's going to happen sooner, but the prediction was like by 2029, like 85% of retail sales would be online. You know, could it happen before then?
Well, I don't think it'll ever go away. I think in terms of brick and mortar, I think again, we're not selling washer and dryer sets, as Greg Bennett used to say. We're selling the ability to express yourself, which is a fundamentally human thing. It's never going to go away. You're going to need repairs. You're going to need, and this goes into a whole other question. Lessons. They shouldn't be virtual, but you're sort of forced to do this for now.
Yeah,
it needs to be an in-person. You're just not gonna. It's just not the same. And so we're forced to all sort of deal with this. I also think it's going to back off a little bit from where it is now. I think we got shoved in this situation, and then I do think it's going to settle back into where it was a little bit more, but the trough is going to be higher, right? So it's going to be, so we were shoved over here, and then we're going to settle back in, but where we settle down is going to be more progressed than where we were a year ago, for sure.
I can see that.
And so there's a few things here. Because e-commerce is through the roof, a lot of folks that are experiencing, a lot of resellers that are experiencing the volume, or they might not have ever been. I had a good dealer of mine in Connecticut's never been online in his life, never sold anything online, refused to. When everything locked down, he said, all right, I guess I'll put everything up on Reverb, and sold out everything. And he was just like, I just had the best, month of my entire career.
Isn't that crazy?
So I think a lot of people that have never tried it before are experimenting, and a lot of people that already had the infrastructure online are just seeing. Now there is no utopia. That's not of this world. But there are trade-offs. And I think there are good things, there are bad things of both scenarios.
Yeah.
I think the power of the consumer online is good. It strengthens competition between resellers and forces manufacturers to be innovative. I think that pushes the industry forward. There is a big downside, and obviously the revenue is up, which is a good thing for everybody. The downside to this, that a lot of maybe resellers think about this, because there are ways to mitigate it, okay? And that the downside to this is, so the Wharton School did a study about a year ago talking about the effects of returns, of customer returns. And it's not that you just didn't make the profit from the sale.
Yeah. You're
talking shipping, you're talking materials, you're talking productivity. A lot of people don't factor in their own time and energy and payroll it's one return is the equivalent of losing 5 sales.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
On average. So with this volume of sale through, I think the gut instinct is to just throw a wide net out there, throw everything online and see if it sells. And it's selling through, but returns are through the roof. So it's not so black and white. And And because returns are so through the roof, and because you're casting a wide net, and a lot of these people are doing it on third-party platforms, what you're doing is generating a sale and not a customer. And there is a gigantic difference between a sale and a customer.
Absolutely.
Anybody can go get a sale. A customer is a relationship, and every single time a customer repurchases from you, the cost to obtain that customer goes down in ratio each time.
Mm-hmm.
So if it costs me $5 worth of effort to get one customer, the second time he buys, that initial investment is $3. And then the third time he buys, that initial investment is $2, and so on and so forth until you have him locked in for years and he's buying all his gear from you.
Yeah.
Now it's really hard to do that on the Reverbs, the eBays, the Amazons of the world. It's difficult because you're not on your own platform. Now, I think the way you mitigate this it seems such a lofty, hard thing to do because it's easy to just throw stuff up online. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, you should be on those big platforms. 100%. That's where the customers are, right? But it's not impossible to filter a lot of that business over to your own website, which is where you'll create a customer.
Yeah.
These third-party platforms won't give you emails to customers, and there's a reason. Mm-hmm. They know what they're doing in terms of the learning algorithm and targeting and advertising to get people to their platform. And they do that through emails. Now, if you sell something on your website, you have their email, you have their customer information, you're more equipped with the tools to turn them into a customer. Mm-hmm. It's not said enough that a lot of these people, they're Reverb customers. They're not Bob's House of Strings customer.
Yeah.
They're Reverb customer.
Yeah.
And that
which has always been a good trade-off. I mean,
I'm not saying this is bad. I'm not
sure.
saying this is bad. I'm saying if you can get 20% of your sales on Reverb and eBay to go to your website, you're not the third-party platforms or half or whatever. Yeah. The third-party platforms are fantastic and they serve this industry beautifully. Yeah. And I'm friends with a lot of them.
Yeah.
But then your margin's higher. You're not giving 10% to eBay. Mm-hmm. You can you're creating a customer. Not just a sale on a third-party platform. Now, how do you do that? I know that can be really overwhelming for a lot of people. This is fairly new, right? Like
sure.
This is a new phenomenon.
Yeah.
And if you're a 2017 dealer in 2021, you won't survive.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
True statement.
Yes, and it's changed so quick that there's so much information to learn. It can be so overwhelming with people that are inherently already hostile to the internet, like my late mentor was, very much so. I answered his emails for him. The guy just despised it. So I feel you. Yeah, I'm there. But this is the reality. And how do you do that? How do you create a customer? How do you get some of those people to go to your website to where you can get their customer information? And how do you use the tools available to you to turn them into a customer?
Well, let me ask you real fast before you answer that question. Are you getting a sense specifically even from some of your dealers, like you mentioned, you're one in Connecticut, I think the first step is, are they recognizing this problem? Or not necessarily problem. Are they recognizing this trend that they're going, okay, I'm losing customers, I'm just making sales?
So I don't think enough time is. No, I don't think so. Unfortunately, I think what's happening is that they see their numbers up, and they're happy, but they're not seeing the downside of it because they're just trying to fulfill orders. Now take this opportunity to where you get all this exposure on these other people's websites. Take this opportunity to filter some of these people to your website the best way you can. And obviously you can't go against the terms and conditions of these third-party platforms. You are not allowed to send them direct contact information in your inbox, and you're not allowed to live by the rules. Well, you're on their website.
Yeah,
that's their private property, and the only reason you're selling is because of their site. What I'm saying, there are other things. You don't have to. You don't have to go against the rules. There are other ways to do it.
Sure.
Okay. So, what's happening is that the dealers see their numbers up and they're just rolling with it. This is a great opportunity to use, we say Facebook and Instagram and Twitch and YouTube are free, but they're not. You're selling your human nature to these platforms that then sell it to people like me. And if you know how to use the tools and the learning algorithm, which is one of the most incredible innovations of capitalism the world has ever seen, which is the learning algorithm and how it adapts to behavior and targets people. There is no better way to lose a whole bunch of money than just boost a post.
Yeah.
You have to, there are millions of people out, billions of people out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the fine tuning who it's targeting and getting your cost per click down, spending the least amount of money for the most amount of exposure is obviously the goal. Now, there are ways to do this. And selling on third-party platforms, you're not getting the data. You're not banking the data needed in order to do that eventually. You're just reaping the present positive out of it,
yeah,
right? And you're not prepping. Look at it as an investment in the future, because what happens when it slows down on Reverb, and now you don't have a customer set because no one's coming into your store, right? So and then if the market comes down in any way and people aren't buying on Reverb, now you don't even have customers to target, period. And you're just left out there with stuff online, and that's it. That's not a customer. That's relying on sales. And there's a way to do this. There's a great.
And let me just say it this way so that I can, you're paying a third party website to facilitate sales for you, and they're going out and getting customers.
But how are they doing that?
Now they're going, okay, now I've got a seller. Let me marry you guys together on our website. And then now they're reaping. Reaping is a bad way to say it. They are benefiting from creating that transaction.
But you have to understand, it's not magic. They don't just get people to their website. They have hundreds of thousands of emails. And so, the only thing you need, every dealer out there listen to me right now, if you have product on your website, do every single thing that you can to get, all you need is 1,000 emails. More is better, but all you need is 1,000 emails of gear buyers, of people out there that are in the market for musical instrument gear. That's all you need to do one thing. Every platform calls it something different, but the most famous is the Facebook lookalike ad. And what a lookalike ad is you can create an Excel spreadsheet of 1,000 emails, submit it into what's called a custom audience within the back end of Facebook in your business manager. And what a lookalike ad is that it doesn't target those 1,000 people. Why would they do that? Because they're already a customer. You already have their email. What it does is find people with the same habits, search habits, follow habits, interests, hobbies, demographics, children, revenue. They know everything about you. Everything.
See, now at this point in time, though, we might need to kind of maybe break this up just a little bit, because you based off of just the way the world's going right now, you're talking over 90% of the people's heads right now. Because most people,
but
most
this
owners,
is out. It happened quickly.
This
is out here, and you need to learn it.
Because
it's not going away.
No,
it's
going
getting worse.
Way.
It's getting worse. And I have call 615-791-7057. I've always said,
is that the pizza?
That is, I've always said, no. I have always said that I'm an open book. I love this stuff. Call me, Stock Franklin first. But call me and let's talk about how to better your marketing. And because I pride myself on not being a faceless manufacturer. And so I'm talking about this all day long. And you're right, it can be. So slow down.
And most people want to just go to their answer to this is, well, I'll just go hire some younger person that understands it.
No,
and that doesn't help either.
But they don't. They don't understand it because they're not the business owner. So they don't really. They kind of and by the way, the young guy just knows how to find the information. He might not inherently know this stuff. He just knows how to go get educated. So do you. It's out there. It's not rocket science. There's YouTube. Search it. What is a Facebook lookalike ad? How do I do that? Well, this algorithm that Facebook has, the largest advertising platform on the planet and the most accurate. Pinterest has this. AdWords, Google conversion tracking. There's a lot of different platforms that have this similar thing. But like I said, a lookalike ad targets similar people, and it's really smart about it. And the more data you feed the algorithm, the more accurate it is. So I say most dealers already have 1,000 emails if they're keeping up with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do this already, you need to sign up with MailChimp. And on the back end of your website, download the MailChimp app
Mm-hmm.
and have a subscription box. So that when people go to your website and they put in their email, it filters over into a list and it categorizes it for you already. And then when you want to do an email blast, which you should do twice a week, seriously, you need to take pictures of all your inventory, talk about the things of the week that are happening. Things are happening quick right now, so don't tell me there's no content to talk about. There's plenty of content to talk about. And if you, for some reason, you can't come up with anything, well, then find your favorite YouTube video of Dwayne Allman killing it, embed it into an email, and post that. You know, there is always something to do, and you have to stay in front of them. And the more opens you get, the more people that are signing up to you. That's creating a customer. And every single time they buy, it decreases your initial investment. And instead of having your returns 400% up, but also your sales 400% up, that's not doing anything to help you long term. And it's not difficult. There is plenty of tools out there at your disposal. And there's not enough people utilizing it. The only people that are utilizing it are these third-party platforms. You get, when's the last time you got a reverb ad in on Google or on Facebook on the side because you were just on Reverb looking at this really cool country gentleman? Well, they're doing it. And that's, so you're using their platform because they're using a tool that is available to you. Okay? So you don't have to be so dependent. You need, that's where the people are. So don't get me wrong, it's got to be there. But these tools are available on a smaller scale, on a smaller budget for you too. You can spend $8 a day on ads. I mean, it's not.
No. Absolutely, you can. And actually, it's for those of you out there that, and I want you to give maybe even just one or two more examples, except for Facebook lookalike ads that we can do. But it is, you can literally set up a $5 budget. I mean, you can do that across Pinterest. You can do it on
Instagram,
try to
Facebook. Sell you into doing more, but you don't have to do that. All you need is 1,000 emails.
Some places will even give you. Some places will even give you $100 free just to get started. I don't know if they're still doing
Google
that.
Google AdWords does that in droves.
Yeah.
Google AdWords, because they're trying to get some of that business from Facebook a little bit. So the Facebook has a thing called a pixel, which is associated to all business accounts. So every business is given a pixel. There is a Facebook app on the back end of every website. You can download, whether it's WordPress or Shopify or whatever, Squarespace, whatever you're using to host and design your website. There's a way to embed your Facebook pixel, and there are YouTube videos everywhere. Guy with dealer with Squarespace. Go to YouTube. How do I put in my Facebook pixel into a Squarespace website? And there are 100 videos to walk you right through it. I'm telling you, don't be intimidated. Don't be intimidated by all this stuff. It sounds complex. I get it because it's new, but use it. Use it. There are a lot of different ads other than lookalike ads. There are retargeting ads. There are, some people need to see the same ad 4 times before they purchase. There are which
is statistically true.
Yes. There are dynamic ads. How many people out there have been on a website looking at a specific, Amazon does this like crazy, a specific product. They see a specific product, and then the next day they get targeted on Facebook with a picture of that exact product. Not the website you were looking at it on, but that specific product.
That's right.
That specific product. That's called a dynamic ad. It's good to run all of them if you can. Lookalike ads are better because, you got 2,000 products in your store and people like to browse. So, the best return on investment for me is a lookalike ad. But I guess the point is that there are all these tools that make the third-party platforms popular are available to you as well. And instead of relying on 100% on their ad budget to generate traffic, you can be doing on a small scale the same things
Mm-hmm.
and be creating a customer instead of just sales.
This is very important. And now I want to move on to just a little bit different of a conversation. Well, it's all obviously
It's
it's all
all
coming together. So,
yeah, yeah.
and this is good stuff. And in fact, I think people need to realize they need to dive into this, and not just dive into it because they're like, oh, it's something else to do. It's like you said, it's not just another thing, another way. It is the way. That's the way things are going. And people have to adapt to it. They have to become more willing to become educated, and there's just no way around it.
It
But
can be intimidating.
yeah,
I get it. I really do. But it's you know.
but you were man in the music and sound retailer. There was an
Yeah.
article done by
Yeah,
Alan
yeah, right.
McBroom. Alan is a wonderful person.
Oh, I love
He's
Alan.
a dear friend of yours.
I love Alan.
Yeah, Alan. He's actually been on the show. It was a couple of years ago, talking about just his experience.
He's my best sales guy at NAM.
Is he
He
really?
just sits in the booth. The guy walks by and he goes, "Hey, you like money?"
Yeah, that's funny.
I love Alan
yeah, well,
McBroom,
sure.
man.
Yes, I do.
What's
Why?
Franklin Strap.
Yeah. You like money. So he actually had an article that just came out recently called, hopefully by the time you read this, and obviously he's addressing COVID and what's going on in 2020. But man, he actually, I'm going to, give me a second here. I'm going to zoom in on this so I can read it. You made a quote in this article, and then I want you to expound on it.
So the overall thing here is Alan's trying to talk to dealers about sort of what I was just talking about, the upsides and downsides. But he is a dealer and does great business.
Yeah.
But right next to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Is Starkville. Yeah.
Mhm.
And what he's talking about is how to adapt and how to not be a 2019 dealer in
That's right.
2021.
That's
So,
right.
yeah,
That's right. Okay. So so you're in this article. You guys are all talking about great things. I suggest to everybody, and maybe we'll put a link, obviously, to this article or
Yeah,
something
sure.
in the podcast. But it says, you said most actions from the wholesale side are made with a big picture in mind. That being said, there's no real incentive to stick dealers with slow product, and too often dealers purchase in habits dictated by software and history of sell-through. That, I think that's a huge deal. That is an issue. That is a problem,
Yes.
especially considering in 2020 where everybody wanted to gravitate towards what they knew would sell,
Yeah.
but couldn't get it.
Yeah.
So now what do they do?
Yeah. Well, so what do you do in that situation?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what helps having the manufacturer talk. And that's why Alan called manufacturers.
Yeah.
So how are these people? We have the same problems you do. We don't just, we're not just telling you it's out. It's out. Okay. There are union strikes at docks. There are, I mean, there are things that resellers don't have to deal with. And it's smart to look into that so that you can better be equipped on how to buy in this climate that we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
I think he or I called it opportunity pieces, which is, first of all, you shouldn't be a reseller of brands that you're not passionate about. I don't think. I think you need to. I mean, I think that's why we do this, right? We're passionate about gear. And you need to deal with companies that you love. But most people in my position have no incentive to just stick you with something that we might have too much of or something like that. Thankfully, we do really well with that. We rarely have surplus of anything. But that being said, we only benefit if you sell it, not just buy it from us and stock it.
Yeah.
We only benefit if you sell it and then restock it.
Yeah.
At manufacturer margins, that's just not. Excuse me. That's not our model. Our model is that we need people to buy several times and quit and turning it over. And so if you're benefiting, I'm benefiting. So we are really in this together here. Okay. And one thing to do is if you say, I have, historically, I have done really well with this, and I can't get it. Go to your rep and say, what can take its place? Take this as an opportunity to try things. Alan calls it opportunity pieces. I love that term because that's what it is. I think we all suffer in one way, shape, or form of being comfortable in life in general, but in business especially. You can get to a point to where you're sort of comfortable with the flow, and you don't put in the effort to look at other things that are out there because you don't get me wrong, track record is good. You need to, but there is no one size thing here. You need to split up your budget and look at it in a different light on, what portion of your catalog can you be revolving that's new.
Yeah.
And because you're going to get one fish in there and you're like, I would have never bought that.
Oh yeah.
I would have never bought that in my life, but I'm killing with it.
Yeah.
And use this opportunity where you can't get exactly what you want sometimes to find something else that'll do for now. And maybe, and just maybe, it does even better than the previous piece. And again, we don't have an incentive to stick you with something that doesn't have the potential of that. So maybe you just listen to the manufacturer a little bit, maybe do your own due diligence and read up on some pieces, whether it's gig bags or stands or a new pedal brand that no one knows about it. Well, guess what? That's your job. Get everyone to know about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Introduce these brands to your customers and or pieces to your customers. That's what we do, is explain gear to people. So
yeah.
So
do you think that there's a correlation now from why I think this is a great bigger conversation is there a correlation between people wanting just to sell off of the history of what they sell well and just throwing blankets out there and just making sales and not customers anymore, like we just talked about?
Yes. It's all connected, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have resellers that are brilliant at what they do, but it's so they won't bring something new into their store sometimes as to so petty that they just don't feel like loading the UPC into the system.
Oh wow.
Okay. So it's not everybody's like that. I'm just saying that's out there. That's the extreme, of course, but instead of just printing out the sales report and then duplicating the PO based on what the computer tells you to do, maybe you put a magnifying glass under it and so forth. But yes, it's all tied. If you're doing that and you're buying with purpose, and you're a little bit more fine-tuned with the product and you're in communication with the manufacturer, you're better equipped to build customers instead of sales. And you're sort of forced to in a weird way. If you have to explain something you haven't pitched before to the public, maybe your tactics change slightly for the better. Maybe some maybe for the worse, and you learn from that and move on. Again, there's no utopia. You have to. So I think being comfortable can really shoot yourself in the foot sometimes. Yeah. You have to take some risk. Don't risk away at all. But there's give and take.
Yeah.
And listen to your reps, listen to your manufacturers, and most importantly, listen to the customer, because without them, we're nothing.
Yeah.
So listen to influencers. Get on YouTube, because that's the new cable TV. So look and see what are people using passively in the background. It's interesting. No one ever pays attention to the guitar strap a guy has on stage at a Grammy, but pay attention to these things. Look at the stand the guy's got. Look at the cable he might use. But pay attention. Pay attention to the passive little things, the Snickers bar at the gas station type products. Pay attention to those things. They're everything. They pay the mortgage.
Yeah. And it has to be said that, 2020 has forced people to come out of their comfort zones. They have to. A lot of people were forced to take on opportunity pieces. Is that what it was?
Opportunity pieces.
Opportunity pieces, which is a really great way of just saying, hey, here's some stuff I do have in stock that hasn't sold and you're not selling as much of. Man,
maybe you haven't tried.
But those manufacturers are marketing those pieces.
Why are they building it?
Yeah,
why would they build it if no one wants it?
That's right. That's the truth. They're building it because they know there is a market out there for people to buy it. You just have to take on and educate yourself and become good at selling something that you just haven't sold in the past. And the world is wide open, because if you can learn to sell opportunity pieces, then when those history pieces that you sell really well come back around. You've now
Yeah.
completely widened your opportunities across the board.
I'm not going to spend $100,000 on a production run with a bunch of stuff that might sell. Guys, come on. I know you need to be skeptical because in sales, I think we're sort of trained to be weary of the used car guy.
Low-hanging fruit. That's what salespeople do.
But it's really not that cut and dry. Like we're not going to buy a football field of something without thoroughly researching this or hearing directly from the horse's mouth or customers telling us to make something. Okay, well, that's not what we're going to do. So listen, pay attention to what's going on online. Get on social media, whether you hate it or not. Click on hashtags, and just browse of people playing guitar in their room, and look at the stuff that they use or the things that they talk about or how they're simulating guitar sounds. Get hip to this stuff. Yeah. Okay, it's not going away. Yeah. And maybe it broadens your own your interest, and then you might ask questions to the manufacturer, and that gives you your opportunity pieces as we covered.
Is there a tool out there people can use to search hashtags so they're just not randomly going through things on Instagram? To be honest,
I'm pretty sure you can just Google a hashtag, and then every platform that people are using said hashtag would pop up, and then you just choose your platform of choice. Yeah. Some people despise one thing but like the other or whatever. I'm pretty sure you can just do that. Yeah. So it's not even a tool. It's just a basic search engine because hashtags are a way information is organized. Yeah. Now, millions of posts a minute, have to be organized by topic or interest in one way, shape, or form. So yeah.
Well, man, this is an interesting conversation. What are we leaving out? Is there anything we haven't hit on this that you want to make sure we do?
I will say, what we're doing? We're going to have a 12-string and classical guitar version of our glider. Okay. And it's in the works. And again, we're not just going to invest into something like that without people knocking our doors down asking for it. We've got 3 videos out with 8 million views each. So I wake up every morning with 50 emails from consumers asking, best ways to utilize the glider, or is it compatible with a 12-string? Yeah. So after hearing that over and over and over and over and over and over again, we found a way to design it, which is it's just a flatter radius and a little bit wider. Yeah. And
12-string neck is naturally
it's flat,
extremely flat.
Yeah, so it's a lot more flat, and so the curves of ours of our regular glider, it'll be a little bit more flat on one side, but still roll. Yeah. So same thing with classical guitar. The width is just and on nylon strings, you might have too much tension on nylon strings, and nylon strings very easily pinch sharp with a lot of pressure. Yeah. So we have to be easier. You might have to elongate the springs and that kind of. So that's coming, and then we have a finger slide brand.
Oh, really?
That we're going to release the name of.
Are you allowed to say that, or is that top secret?
Not yet. Top secret. Let's just say there are 3 huge problems with slides, and we solved every one of them.
What? Yeah. Is that 2021?
It's 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just scaling the production. We're trying to figure out how best to mass produce it. Yeah. So the branding, the design is done. Okay. So that's all I can say about that.
Oh, man.
That is going to be super cool. We've got artists lined up for the videos to showcase it. Okay. And so every major problem with a slide that players dislike are solved.
Well, I always end up playing all the wrong notes. Did you fix that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, unfortunately, we're not doing a lessons program, but no.
Yeah, we're not doing a skill program. You either have it or you don't. No, that's cool.
But we're getting into other things, and we're we know how to create a brand, and we know how to make something that functions the way it's supposed to. Yeah. And we're keeping it all right here in the US of A.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm throwing it out there. to that if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to you
Yeah.
through an email.
Yep. Charlton at franklinstrap.com.
Try that. There you go. And man, because I think that the more and more we go, there will need to be resources that people can glean off of to become better at what we're doing. So
Keep in mind the resources that got these third-party platforms to be as successful as they are exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's no magic involved.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. So, I don't know. We might need to catch up with you later in the year after said new products are released and kind of talk about those. But hey, man, we'll close out with this. Are you excited about Summer NAMM? It's supposedly on this summer.
Supposedly on. Of course, they have to say it's on. I think they have to say it's on because then no one will pay them. So they have to. So we actually had a rebate from the last NAMM show that we missed. So we transferred that over to this one. So we bought the booth and
you're going to be there.
We're going to be there provided it goes down.
Yeah.
Nashville may be opened up, but I guess it's all up to the people. Are people going to want to go to a big event? Kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, we always have something here that's going on, and we have a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people that have absolutely said, can you please do something this year? We want to come to something. Yeah. So
okay. So that's interesting. Okay, I haven't asked. So that's interesting to know.
And, I haven't talked to 500 people. I've talked to, a handful of people.
Out there.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
No, I think you're probably right. I think especially just regular consumers, people are dying for live music right now. And we're the guys that help put that on. So
anyways.
Hopefully things open up and we get back to a semi-normal.
Yeah. Charleston, it's always good. Charlton. I just said Charleston. That's funny.
Every single day of my entire life. It's Carlton. People used to do the Carlton dance.
Yeah, that's right. It's like the worst. Like you're on a podcast and you say somebody's name wrong, but that's like the worst thing ever. And the crazy thing is I absolutely know you forever.
We're like good friends.
And I just said Charleston, not to be confused with the city. No.
Yeah, right. It's like Charlton Heston. I used to say for the older folks out there that might get that reference.
Yeah. So that's funny. So sorry about that. Yeah. Hey, you on the other side of the table.
Yeah. Hey, dude.
Hey, dude. Man, it's always a pleasure to have you on.
This is my second home, I always say.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, man. And we'll bring you back on down the road. But anyways, hey guys, check out. We'll have the links to everything going on with Franklin Strap, Glider Capo, and everything. Click on that to find out more. But great conversation, man.
As always.
Appreciate it.